the man who danced his way to murder. Hello, everyone. Many of you might be fascinated by the stories of serial killers. Typically, those who manage to kill multiple victims and evade capture for long periods often possess high intelligence and maintain an innocent, charming facade. The killer in today's video is a prime example of this. He was elegant, talented, and the center of attention on the dance floor. Whether it was the waltz or the tango, he would receive thunderous applause, a dream dance partner that every performer wanted to be paired with at least once. However, behind this charming exterior lurked a monster, one that brutally murdered and dismembered 16 women. What drove him to such madness? The early life of Lu Shesin. Lu Shesin was born in 1950 in Shenyang, China. In his youth, he worked as a farmer. In 1972, he returned to the city and was assigned a temporary job at a steel rolling factory. Thanks to his outstanding performance, he was soon transferred to an elevator manufacturing plant in Xiaoxi district, where he became a full-time worker. Lu's career ascended rapidly. From a regular worker, he was promoted to department head and later became the factory director. At that time, although his factory had only around 200 employees, securing the position of director was still an impressive feat. However, after reaching this high rank and enjoying a more comfortable life, Lu Shesin changed drastically. He indulged in pleasure, spent nights at dance halls with various female dancers, and neglected his managerial responsibilities. As a result, the factory's business performance plummeted. In 2005, due to corporate restructuring in northeast China, many factories underwent massive layoffs. Tens of thousands of workers lost their jobs, and Lu Shesin was among them. A once envied factory director was now dismissed due to age and policy changes. After losing his job, Lu received 10,000 yuan in severance pay and returned home with a bitter heart. A life of frustration and resentment. As days passed, Lu found himself drowning in anger and resentment. He despised what he saw as society's unfairness, believing that he had been robbed of the opportunity to showcase his talents. By this time, he was in his 40s, and finding a job that matched his previous status as a factory director was nearly impossible. However, Lu refused to start from scratch, as he felt ashamed to depend on others. With no income, his future seemed bleak. During his tenure as a factory director, Lu's family had been better off than most, but money runs out quickly. His wife had to work as a nanny to help make ends meet, leaving Lu alone at home. For 3 years, Lu remained unemployed and spent most of his time at dance halls, learning to dance. Despite being nearly 50 years old, he quickly mastered various styles, from waltz to tango. His dancing skills gained him fame in the local dance community, where he earned the nickname Big Brother Lu. Although Lu was neither handsome nor tall, he took meticulous care of his appearance, always dressing in suits and leather shoes, exuding an air of sophistication. His gentlemanly demeanor made him popular among female dancers, especially middle-aged women who enjoyed dancing with him. Every time the music played, Lu became the center of attention. He not only had excellent dancing skills, but also treated his partners with great respect. He would often take them out for meals after practice, which made him even more well-liked. For Lu, dancing became his greatest joy. However, he soon realized that pleasure required money, and his severance pay was running out. The beginning of a darker path. At this time, Lu began to pay close attention to the wealthy women in the dance halls. Most of them were elegantly dressed, always joyful and carefree. After some inquiries, he learned that one of them worked as a high-end escort. This revelation angered Lu. How could a mere escort be wealthier than a former factory director like me? He thought. That night, while observing the glamorous women in the ballroom, Lu noticed that many wore gold and silver jewelry. This sparked a dark idea in his mind. He approached a woman named Zhang, who was a regular at the dance hall. Lu, being an experienced leader, had a way with words. Within just a few moments of conversation, Zhang was charmed and completely trusted him. They arranged to meet at Lu's house the next day. After saying goodbye to Zhang, Lu immediately went out to buy an axe, a saw, and other tools, preparing for his first murder. March 22, 2005, the first kill. On the agreed-upon day, Zhang arrived at Lu's house. The moment she stepped inside, Lu struck her hard on the head. She collapsed unconscious. Realizing that she was no longer breathing, Lu dragged her body into the bathroom. He took 400 yuan in cash and gold jewelry, including rings and earrings, from her before proceeding to dismember her body using the axe and saw. Lu placed the dismembered remains into a black velvet bag and later disposed of them. This was Lu's first time killing, and it terrified him. Over the next few days, he avoided the dance halls and fled back to his hometown to lay low. But when he returned to the city, he realized that everything was normal. No news reports, no police inquiries. No one was looking for him. Feeling reassured, Lu's fear turned into confidence. However, he was disappointed that his first robbery only yielded 400 yuan. As soon as Lu Shesin returned to the city, he resumed his usual activities at the dance hall. With his signature charm, he danced gracefully, capturing the admiration of those around him. But this time, his eyes weren't just on his dance partners. He was fixated on their gold necklaces, bracelets, and elegant handbags. Lu estimated that the jewelry alone worn by these dancers was worth 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. He quickly set his sights on a woman named Wang, luring her home under the pretense of intimacy. After seducing her, he killed and dismembered her body, just as he had done before, disposing of the remains to cover his tracks. This time, Lu stole over 1,000 yuan in cash and jewelry. Unlike his first murder, Lu no longer felt nervous. He had perfected his methods. And this was only the beginning of his monstrous spree. A killing frenzy. From that moment on, Lu Shesin embarked on a violent rampage, carrying out dozens of murders. While his methods remained the same, his standards for choosing victims became more selective. He only targeted women wearing at least 3,000 yuan worth of jewelry. One by one, many innocent lives were taken by the man who was once a respected factory director. To minimize the risk of detection, Lu disposed of bodies in various locations, some in remote areas, others under bridges or in canals. His main targets were female dancers because, 1. They often wore valuable jewelry, making them lucrative victims. 2. They were transient, frequently moving between different dance halls, making their disappearances harder to track. Lu found these women easy to overpower, allowing him to continue his killing spree undetected. After luring them home, he would murder them, strip them of their jewelry and cash, and even sell their clothes for extra money. Their bodies were then discarded into abandoned wells or drainage ditches. Initially, dance hall owners did not notice the pattern since dancers often moved between venues. However, as more and more women disappeared, suspicion grew. Eventually, the club owner realized that more than 10 dancers had vanished, and he couldn't reach any of them. This eerie coincidence prompted him to call the police. A chilling investigation begins. Upon receiving the report, police launched an in-depth investigation into the missing dancers. Many of the victims were either unemployed women making a living through dance or social dancers who simply enjoyed the nightlife. With no fixed partners or close-knit relationships, even their families had little knowledge of their social circles. This lack of leads made the search feel like looking for a needle in a haystack. Months passed with little progress as detectives combed through the available information. However, something unexpected happened. While the police were still reviewing case files, multiple calls came in reporting the discovery of human body parts in various locations, including a village on the western outskirts of Shenyang. Upon forensic analysis, the remains were confirmed to be from multiple female victims. The police immediately linked these gruesome findings to the missing dancers. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, authorities assembled a special task force to track down the killer. Through analysis, the task force determined that the killer's primary motives were robbery and murder. Their first clue? A missing dancer named Hua Jie who had vanished while still carrying her mobile phone. While stolen gold and jewelry could be difficult to trace, a mobile phone was different. It could be tracked through digital forensics. Investigators quickly searched pawn shops, gold buyers, and phone retailers for any trace of the missing belongings. Soon, a major breakthrough emerged. The stolen phone was still in use. Using GPS tracking, police traced the phone to a man known as T, who claimed that his girlfriend had given it to him as a gift. When questioned, the girlfriend revealed that the phone was not purchased, but was instead a gift from a mysterious man known as Lu Shesin. Unmasking the monster. Upon further investigation, police identified Lu Shesin as Lu Shesin, a former factory director of an elevator manufacturing company in Shenyang. After losing his job, he frequented dance halls, gaining a reputation for his skills and generous spending. Many dancers knew him, and he was widely admired. But now, one of the missing victims' phones was traced back to him. The police immediately launched a detailed investigation into Lu Shesin's life and habits. They discovered that his wife was rarely home, as she worked as a babysitter, meaning Lu had both the time and privacy to commit his crimes. Moreover, he had no stable income, further supporting the theory that he targeted women for financial gain. With these revelations, Lu became the prime suspect in the disappearances and murders of multiple female dancers. The raid and shocking discoveries. Authorities moved quickly. A search warrant was issued, and police raided Lu Shesin's home. What they found was shocking. A woman's wristwatch hidden in his bedside drawer. Multiple black plastic bags filled with unknown contents on his balcony. A suspicious bank passbook showing frequent deposits of 3,000 to 5,000 yuan, despite having no job. Bloodstains inside his bathroom, raising serious suspicions. Forensic analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to multiple victims. DNA tests matched 4 different women and 1 male, with 1 sample positively identified as belonging to Hua Jie. Faced with irrefutable evidence, Lu's psychological defenses collapsed. Realizing he was caught, Lu attempted to escape and take his own life. But the police intervened just in time. After persistent interrogation, Lu finally confessed. In a chilling admission, he revealed that over the past year alone, he had murdered 16 women. Even more disturbingly, he had just killed another victim the day before his arrest. With Lu's confession, authorities uncovered one of China's most gruesome serial murder cases. Following Lu Shesin's confession, police began searching for the victim's remains based on the locations he provided. However, due to the scattered disposal sites and the extent of decomposition, much of the physical evidence had already disappeared. Some deep wells, where bodies had allegedly been dumped, were later sealed and paved over during road renovations, making it impossible to recover certain remains. As a result, many crucial pieces of evidence were lost. Additionally, Lu had not kept precise records of where he disposed of each body, further complicating the search. In the end, after thorough forensic analysis, authorities were able to confirm 7 cases of murder and robbery directly linked to Lu Shesin. Did his wife know? Despite Lu's horrifying crimes, his wife remained completely unaware of what was happening. During the day, she worked as a nanny, and by the time she returned home, Lu had already cleaned up every trace of his crimes. The valuables he stole were immediately sold, preventing any suspicion. When his wife questioned the sudden influx of money, Lu had a well-prepared excuse. He claimed he had mastered gambling tricks and was winning large sums of money. Furthermore, he meticulously hid his murder weapons. He concealed his primary weapon beneath a large rock located 500 meters from their home, while other tools were stashed behind a heating pipe. These precautions ensured that his wife never suspected a thing. When the truth about the serial murders was finally exposed, the entire city of Shenyang was thrown into panic. Dance halls shut down, and dancers feared for their safety. The realization that such a refined and charismatic man, a former factory director, was in fact a cold-blooded murderer sent shockwaves throughout the community. People found it unbelievable that Lu Shesin, once admired for his dancing skills and gentlemanly demeanor, had secretly been preying on women all along. The death sentence. Justice was swift. On November 18, 2006, Lu Shesin was sentenced to death for his gruesome crimes. After spending over a decade on death row, his punishment was carried out in 2017 by firing squad. What made him a monster? Some believe that Lu Shesin was a victim of circumstance. that his fall from a respectable career into financial ruin pushed him to commit these crimes. However, others argue that his true nature had always been dark. They claim that his circumstances only awakened the monster that already existed within him. After all, a truly good person remains good no matter the situation. A killer, on the other hand, only needs the right trigger to emerge. But what do you think? Was Lu Shesin a victim of fate? Or was he always destined to become a serial murderer?